Hi everybody, it's Don and I hope you're having a fantastic day. Well, unfortunately we have some tragic news today, a couple of stories actually. One of a tour boat sinking in the Red Sea where there are still 17 passengers missing. We also have the story of the person who was arrested in Papua New Guinea regarding that attack on a mother, son, and daughter. We also have Carnival trying to clarify their Bluetooth speaker thing and some of the kind of weird situation around that. Wait till you hear this one. When you can get on your cabin. Some people think you can get in right away if you have this certain package and the certain perks, but it really isn't that way. So in our first story, we have a rather large tour boat that was out in the Red Sea from Egypt. It had 31 passengers on board, all with different nationalities. I know a lot of cruise ships aren't going to the Red Sea right now. However, tourism is still big. It's a big section. It employs over 2 million people in that area. So there are still people vacationing there, and this is a diving boat that was going out, and unfortunately something went wrong. Unfortunately, out of the 31 passengers and 14 crew members, only 28 have been rescued so far. Now, the search is still ongoing. They're hoping for more people to turn up. Other people may have picked them up with other vessels, etc. No idea yet exactly what happened to this tour boat, but it is a rather large vessel to have gone down in what they were explaining to be relatively calm seas, considering this is a diving boat. It's not a boat that's set for, heading out into rough seas, etc. You don't go diving in rough weather. So we'll have to wait for more comments on that. I hope some more people are found and this doesn't end with this current amount of people missing. Again, one of those things, it's just you're out on a tour boat and bam, something happens. Speaking of not a good situation, we have the suspect has turned himself in Papua New Guinea. Now, what had happened is we had some guests who were on a cruise ship, and they were off into the port. It was a mother, a daughter who was 16, and her son who was 13 years old, when a person came up and took a knife and tried to slash the backpack off the daughter, off the 16-year-old daughter. The daughter started to kind of struggle back and everything, and apparently he swiped at her and actually cut her across the front. And so after checking cameras and interviewing people, etc., the police knew who this was and had a good feeling on who this was, and actually went into negotiations with the family of this person, and he voluntarily turned himself into police. Now, you would think this is a good story, a good outcome and everything, but now the stories are coming out in Papua New Guinea where people say, well, the police are very quick to make arrests. The trouble is they don't file the case, they don't pursue the case. They'll hold somebody unlawfully, they say, for a certain amount of time. Could be 3 weeks, could be a month, and then suddenly they just release them back out without charges or being prosecuted in any way, and that leaves criminals back on the street. So we'll have to wait and see if this person is actually charged and actually brought in for justice, or if it'll squeeze through and we never hear of the story again. So that's the warning that's going on right now. The tourism minister came out and said, hey, incidents like this can scare away the cruise ships, which is a big income factor for thousands of people in Papua New Guinea. So we don't want that to happen. We don't want them to feel unsafe coming to our port. And if that's the case, they kind of need to make sure they prosecute to get this done. And even if it's not a huge amount of jail time, at least show you're doing something. Now, Carnival has a couple of issues going on right now, but before I get there, let me just quickly invite you to hit that subscribe button if you want to keep up to date with everything going on in cruising, from what ports might not be safe to unfortunate incidences that you have to be aware of in certain situations, to banned items that we're going to talk about in a minute, to your cabin procedures that we're going to talk about in a minute, all kinds of things that might make your cruise just a little bit easier, maybe even save you some money in the meantime, and I hope you'll join us. It doesn't cost a single thing to hit that subscribe button. You're not going to get spammed with email or anything. It's just going to say to YouTube, hey, people like cruising videos, let's share it to more people, and it really does help the channel out, and I really do appreciate it. Okay, first of two stories. The first story is we have Carnival Cruise Line banning Bluetooth speakers. And now some questions have been asked. So you are banning Bluetooth speakers, but if you go to the fun shops on a Carnival ship, you can buy a Bluetooth speaker. So you might be banning them over there when we're getting on the ship, but I can just go to your fun shop, buy one, and now I have a Bluetooth speaker on board. And the response has been, well, no. What we will probably be doing with those Bluetooth speakers is acting them like alcohol. When you buy alcohol on board, they don't give it to you in your cabin. They store it up in the ship, and then they deliver it to you on the final night of the cruise when you're packing. And they say they'll treat the Bluetooth speakers the exact same way. No idea if Carnival is going to continue selling these Bluetooth speakers, but I imagine if you can't use them while you're on the ship, maybe that will drop that down just a little bit in how many people actually want to buy one when you're on a cruise ship. Another controversy that's come up is also white noise machines. A lot of people use white noise machines. They don't play music. They just kind of have a little static sound that sometimes help people sleep, especially if they're in a noisy cabin or they're not used to the area they're in, the room they're in, the bed they're in. And unfortunately, Carnival says, yeah, those will probably be picked up by security too, because you really can't tell the difference between a white noise machine and a Bluetooth speaker without turning them on, plugging them in, and security just doesn't have the time to do that for every device they find. So yeah, even white noise machines might be banned technically on Carnival Cruise Lines as well. And then we had another story where a guest was furious, absolutely furious, because they had about a 14-hour drive to their cruise. They were exhausted. They're platinum members with Carnival, and they expected or thought that they could just go to their cabin whenever they got on the ship. So they got on early, went up to their cabin, tried to go in and have a nap and lie down and sleep, and the cabin steward said, sorry, your room's not ready yet, you have to leave. Which is the procedure on almost every cruise line I've ever been on. They don't open up, even if you have a suite or something like that, you don't get into the suite right away until it's ready. And then you can, they'll bring you to a lounge maybe, they'll bring you to a restaurant to have lunch, and then you can go up. But one of the perks is having being a suite guest or getting faster to the fun with Carnival or a certain status, is that you can drop off your carry-on bags into your room and then leave. So you don't have to go to the restaurant carrying a backpack or another suitcase or things like that. And apparently this guest didn't quite understand that, and he wrote into John Hill saying, if we are platinum members, you said we can go straight to our room. That is a lie. Lie in capital letters. And then he also says, this is another perk that pulled out from under our feet. And I'm not sure. I haven't been on Carnival in quite a few years. I am planning one next year. But I still think the procedure's been the same, right? I know it's been the same on Princess. I know it's been the same on Holland America. I know it's been the same on Royal Caribbean. You can drop off your bag, but your room will be ready maybe a little earlier than other guests. But you still are not allowed to just go into your room and stay there and sleep. The reasoning for that is the steward is still going in and out. They're still trying to put things in cabins. And if we have a row of suites and suddenly everybody's in their room, now the cabin stewards can't do their job. And then people will be writing in saying, hey, this cabin steward didn't do a very good job on embarkation day. My fridge wasn't ready when I got there. This wasn't done. This wasn't done. Well, it's because you're in the room. They can't do it. You're sleeping in the room with a do not disturb sign on. They can't do it. So that's the reason behind the policy. So was Carnival lying? No. You just read into it what you wanted to read into it. Well, let me know in the comments down below. Do you think it's kind of funny Carnival selling an item that they're banned from being on their cruise ship? And what do you think? Should you be allowed to go right to your stateroom even at 10 o'clock in the morning when you first get on the ship? If you're in, faster to the fun, or if you're in a suite, or whatever status you have. Let me know in the comments down below, and until next time, I hope you liked this video. If you did, please give it a thumbs up. Let's see more tips, more tricks, more travel vlogs from around the world. Hit that subscribe button. Until next time, have yourself a safe and a great vacation.